guys, it's Anna from Babble, Dabble, Do. Welcome back to Creative Basics. Today we are going to be talking about pom-poms. We're going to be talking about big pom-poms and little pom-poms, pom-poms of all kinds. We're going to be showing you how to make them using just your hand and yarn, and I'm also going to be showing you how to make them using a Pom Pom Maker. Now before we get started, make sure that you hit the subscribe button below so that you can get notifications when we upload new videos. I do Creative Basics episodes roughly once or twice a month, and I want to make sure that you get all the episodes. Okay, let's get started with the first and easiest method of making a pom-pom. This method is very simple and does not require any special tools to make it. All you need are a roll of yarn and some scissors. And basically this method uses your hand as the form for the pom-pom. So let's get right into it. So to begin with this method, all you do is unravel some of your yarn, and you're going to take the loose end, place it between your thumb and your fingers, and you're going to begin wrapping your hand as such. The amount of yarn that you wrap around your hand is one of the determining factors in how fuzzy the final pom-pom will be. When you're done wrapping and you have a fair amount, as you can see here, what I do is I go ahead and I clip the end and I leave a tail, maybe about 12 inches of yarn behind. And the next step goes like such. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to take this spool of yarn and tie it around the middle. And the easiest way to do that is to slip your thumb underneath. So now you've grabbed the loops, and then to take your loose end and gently wrap it around the center point. You're almost making like a butterfly. And you want to pull it tight. And then what I do is I generally wrap it around my finger, pull it under to make a knot, pull that tight, wrap it again, wrap my finger, pull it under, and make a knot. So the next step that is going to be to cut through the loops. You want to have a sharp pair of scissors, and then you're going to basically start cutting through the center line as much as you can determine that. Make sure that you don't cut through your wrapped center, and then you're going to turn it around and do the other side. Okay, so at this point what we're going to do is we're going to trim this guy. And you're basically going to just start giving it a haircut. You want to start evening out all of the yarn. As you're doing this, you want to fluff out the pom-pom at times to make sure you're not missing any loose ends. Now, if you're doing this with kids, just make sure to give them a pair of scissors that's not too sharp so that they don't hurt themselves. But they do love this step because it's kind of like giving a doll a haircut. And there you have it. Okay, so once you've mastered the basic pom-pom, you can do some fancy things. Now for the first pom-pom, I used a variegated yarn, which is a yarn that has different colors to it. So it does yield a pom-pom with some different colors in it. But if you're using single colored yarn, you can still do multicolored pom-poms by doubling up or tripling up your yarn in one pom-pom. And that's what I've done here. These are made with 3 or 4 different colors of yarn. So to get started, again, I'm going to start wrapping my hand. I've chosen a variegated yarn for the center that's very bright. I'm just going to wrap it a little bit, trim. Now I'm going to use a pink yarn. And when I have a fair amount of that, I'm going to go ahead and trim it. Then I'm going to take my final color. In this case, I'm using like a dark blue that's that contrasts pretty well with the pink and the bright reds. And I'm going to continue wrapping, and I'm going to completely cover the other yarn. Okay, now that I'm done, I'm going to trim it. Put my thumb between the loops, slide it off this hand, and then I'm going to loop it around the center point. Now comes the fun part. So these color burst pom-poms are pretty cool when you open them up because you have kind of an explosion of color as you cut them. So we're going to start with one side and start cutting through the center of the loops. And now you have a multicolored pom-pom base from just 3 different types of yarn. And I'm going to go ahead and trim this. So if you get really into pom-pom making, you might want to consider buying a Pom Pom Maker. And it looks like this. And they're pretty inexpensive. You can get them online or you can get them at the craft store. I'll have a link in the description below if you're interested in buying one. This one came as part of a set and it has several different sizes. And I'm just going to quickly show you how to use it. Open it up. Take your loose end of yarn and begin wrapping from the center point out. So you're just going to wrap this side of the maker, and you want to try to get it as evenly spaced and covered as possible. Now again, the more yarn you wrap, just like when we're using the hand method, the fluffier and bushier the pom-pom will end up being. And then when it's pretty thick, you want to wrap it back towards the loose end. Now you're going to close it, and then you're going to open the other side, and you're going to continue wrapping. Okay, and then when you get them evenly covered, you're going to trim the end of that. You're going to close it like so. You're going to turn it on its side. You're going to hold it tightly together, and then you're going to trim along the center line. You're going to turn it again, do the same thing. Make sure that you hold the Pom Pom Maker together so that it doesn't fall apart. Now you're going to trim a section of yarn, and you're going to slide it between the center point of the 2 halves, and you're going to tie it. Now you're going to want to take it apart. So basically, open it up, and then you're actually going to pull the 2 halves apart. So then you want to go ahead again, just like we did with the other method, and trim it as tight as you want to get this sort of level of bushiness or fluffiness. And there's your pom-pom. So now I'm going to show you how to make this enormous, giant rainbow pom-pom. So to do a rainbow pom-pom, you're of course going to need the different colors of the rainbow in yarn. You're going to start wrapping your pom-pom, one side of it, with purple yarn. Okay, and when you have your first color, you're going to go ahead and stop. And then let's move on to our second layer. Now I'm going to trim that, and I'm going to move on to green. last layer, go ahead as usual and try to wrap. Now at this point your pom-poms are probably going to be very thick because we've layered a lot of different colors on here. But try as best as possible to cover up the color before. And then when you're done with that, trim it and close your maker. So now, let's get that end under there. So now you're halfway done. Now we're going to repeat the same steps with the other side. It does take a little patience, like I said. I'm going to go ahead and trim my last color and put the two sides together. We need to make sure as we do the cut through the center that we cut through everything. Otherwise you won't be able to pull the center string taut. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to very carefully cut. Now I'm going to take a string and run it through the center. And now we're going to open this bad boy up. Now I'm going to go ahead and trim it because it still needs a little bit of trimming. And there you have it. There is a fabulous rainbow pom-pom. All right, so did you enjoy that? Wasn't that cool learning how to make pom-poms, especially these enormous rainbow ones? So now that you have your gazillion pom-poms, I want you to, think about all the different ways you can use them. We use them for a whole variety of things. My daughter has used them to decorate Christmas trees, gifts. You can use them as a backpack hanger. You can string them together and make a really pretty garland. You can use them on wall hangings, like hung from a stick. There's so many uses for pom-poms, so I hope you go forth and feel confident in your pom-pom making, whether or not you're doing it by hand or using a special tool. See you next time on Creative Basics, guys.